Nothing new about political ads in a campaign season, but have you noticed the number of ads not officially approved by the candidates? Here's an example of an ad paid by Jobs PAC of the California Chamber of Commerce.
Dave Jones, a career politician running for insurance commissioner. But Jones is just another tax and spend politician.
Unless you take the time to look up campaign finance disclosure documents, you might not know that the Chamber's Political Action Committee paid for this ad while taking donations from Mercury and other insurance companies.
Barbara Boxer voted to cut spending on Medicare benefits by $500 billion.
This ad is funded by Karl Rove's Crossroads GPS. As a nonprofit, GPS isn't required to disclose its donors at all, but GPS will spend well more than $50 million on ads for Republican candidates across the nation.
Barbara Boxer. She's been
the U.S. Chamber of Commerce paid for this ad.
28 years voting to add trillions to the national debt.
This ad and others by the U.S. Chamber brought out an objection by the president.
We learned that one of the largest groups paying for ads regularly takes in money from foreign sources.
All right, that was the president back on October 7th. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce, by the way, denies foreign money was used to pay for political ads. In the meantime, the U.S. Chamber will spend the most it's ever spent on political ads, $75 million. Joining us now to discuss the new landscape, if you will, of political ad funding, Jamie Court of Consumer Watchdog. He's the author of the book, The Progressive's Guide to Raising Hell. Also here, Jim Lacey of the Western Conservative Political Action Committee. And Jamie, let me start with you. Is the insurance industry trying to buy the insurance commissioner's seats? Is that your charge?
Well, look, you have $1.2 million being spent, according to state disclosure reforms, by Anthem Blue Cross, by Mercury Insurance, by insurance companies to elect Assembly Member Mike Valines, the Republican, to the office, and to take down Assembly Member Dave Jones, the Democrat, for the office.
But is there anything illegal here?
Well, it's immoral, but there's nothing illegal. The problem is the disclosures on those ads don't say it's paid for by the insurance industry, and that would certainly change how voters see these ads.
And you're talking about Mercury Insurance and who else?
Talking about Mercury, we are talking about Progressive Insurance, we're talking about Health Net, we're talking about Anthem Blue Cross. And you know, Anthem Blue Cross, for instance, is a company that got a 39% increase in its premiums, knocked down to 20% by the current insurance commissioner. You think it's paying for the ads for Assemblymember Mike Valines so that the next commissioner is going to disallow a premium increase? I mean, this is the problem, is when you have the insurance commissioner as judge and jury, and you have the defendant in these cases of rate hikes, the insurance industry giving money to try to influence the election without the public understanding who's behind those ads.
Well, Jim Lacey, is this one of those situations where, to paraphrase Otto Bismarck, politics and sausage making, you really don't want to see how it's done?
Well, no, not really. But before I answer that question, I want to quickly thank you and Carlos for the great job you're doing here on this television station. After Fishman untimely passed away, we followed from KTLA to visit and watch with you, and we appreciate your show. Look,
okay.
This is Jamie, this is great, but this is just politics. It's just grandstanding. They're having their opportunity to try and help their liberal Democrat trial lawyer-backed candidate, Mr. Davis, get some free press. You know, the trial lawyers have given almost $500,000 in disclosable contributions to this character. Well, you know, do you think that trial lawyers don't have anything to do with what the insurance commissioner does?
I know you have something to say about this, Jamie.
Well, the trial lawyers aren't regulated by the insurance industry. The insurance companies have to ask for permission to raise rates from the elected insurance commissioner. He grants them. What's at stake is literally billions of dollars, and the insurance commissioner has been clean from insurance industry money for 10 years, since Republican Chuck Quackenbush was run out of office because he took $8 million from the insurance companies and got embroiled in a scandal for trying to shake them down, and was literally run out of the state. So this is a monumental issue. It's whether the insurance commissioner is going to be influenced in any way by insurance industry contributions.
Who gives a darn? Who gives a darn about Quackenbush? You know, Quackenbush is a security guard somewhere in Florida right now. You know, I worked in the Reagan administration, and it took until about the year 2000 for people to stop, Democrats like you, to stop blaming Ronald Reagan's budget cuts for all the problems in the world. The reality is this is the reality. I want to talk now. The reality is that Proposition 103 has not done a good job for ratepayers and insurance people.
Well,
no,
why has the Consumer Federation of America said it saved $62 billion for consumers in this state?
Right.
Why have rates here been lower than the rest of the country?
And consumers are probably paid $20 billion more in rates because of this rule that says that insurance companies are guaranteed a profit. You know, you don't have.
But are you not? But Mr. Lacy, are you not in some way making Jamie's point here? The insurance industry is funding the or the pro-Valines ads that, in fact, they might be looking forward to a little quid pro quo.
It's just business as usual as far as democracy is concerned. Maybe the insurance company is supporting a candidate that is more pro-business, but the trial lawyers and the labor unions, particularly the public employee unions that want these excessive defined benefits for medical purposes that are bankrupting our state, are supporting their guy.
But what does this have to do with your insurance rates? The insurance commissioner literally controls tens of billions of dollars in our premiums, whether rates are justified or not. When you've got a guy like George Joseph, the CEO of Mercury Insurance, giving $500,000 to Mike Valines to get that office, and George Joseph is the subject of enforcement actions, of rate increase requests, do you think Mike Valines is going to look differently if he gets that job and George Joseph helped give him that job?
You started this whole debate with a bunch of press releases about how the insurance industry was somehow not disclosing their contributions in this case. And the reality is we live in a democracy. You know, if the insurance industry is regulated by the state of California, they ought to have a say in the political process.
And the public should know about that.
Yeah, the reality is that actually, thanks to election disclosure laws, that you can indeed find, thanks to the Secretary of State website, who has contributed to the pro-Valines ad that's not related to campaign. By the way, the Valines campaign has disassociated themselves, or at least would not give me any comment about that. But regardless, that being said, not a lot of people are going to notice. If you look at the whole ad, you can't tell who paid for that ad.
That's part of democracy. I mean,
it's not the democracy. It's not the democracy I live in. The democracy I live in is
voters. It's up to voters to educate themselves. And if voters educate themselves, they will see that your guy, Mr. Davis, has taken $20,000 in insurance industry contributions himself through his assembly race. You know, you want to act as if...
For his insurance commissioner race or for his assembly race?
For his assembly race, but...
So what?
But Valines hasn't taken insurance company money.
Yes, he has. Look, he's got $50,000 insurance company dollars that he took for his assembly race. Jones gave his money back. Valines did not give his money back. But put that out of the question. This isn't about these two guys.
I don't know anything about giving money back, but when the horse has left the barn, it's left the barn. And if he had to give the money back, why did he give it back? Was there something wrong? Maybe he had an error in judgment in the first place.
Both candidates made the pledge not to accept money from the insurance industry.
This is what it all boils down to. This is the whole story. We live in a democracy. I'm against taxes. If I went with your logic, I couldn't support a candidate for Congress that wanted to lower my taxes because you'd say I have a vested interest in reducing taxes, and therefore there's some sort of ethical problem. The reality is that there's nothing illegal going on in this race.
No one
the reality is that everybody
Jimmy Court is not saying that it's illegal. It's just he's suggesting that it might be questionable.
I'm saying that Mike Valines should do this. Mike Valines should say, I don't want the insurance industry spending $1.2 million tagging my opponent and promoting me because I'm insurance commissioner and I'm not beholden to anyone. And if he can't do that, then he is beholden to someone. If he does do that, I will support him. I will applaud him because my only goal here is keeping insurance industry money out of the race.
You're a liberal Democrat and you're trying to create problems here for the Republicans.
I wrote a book.
This is the reality. Now you're going to promote your book. Okay, so you're getting a lot of good stuff here. You're getting to help your Democrat, a liberal Democrat, and you're getting to promote your book. Look, this will be my last comment on this. I don't want to take too much time, but the reality is that when your candidate, Davis or whatever the heck his name is, gives back the $1 million in public employee union money that he's taken, all people that are going to come and lobby to him for defined benefits that are going to bankrupt this state,
he doesn't have
then I'll have that discussion.
The insurance commissioner doesn't have any control over the $5 billion. My only point is I go after Democrats who take money from the insurance industry. I go after Republicans who take money from the insurance industry. My goal is getting the insurance industry money out of the insurance commissioner's race. The last time around, we don't endorse candidates, but Harvey Rosenfield, the founder of our group, endorsed the Republican because he didn't take insurance industry money. Cruz Bustamante, the Democrat, did. And the Republican won. This is not about partisan politics. This is about whether the guy who's going to be in charge of whether rate increases are approved or denied from the insurance industry is beholden to the money for the insurance industry. And Mike Vallines can say no to that campaign and stop it right now.
Gentlemen, can I just interject here and point out, this is a situation where we actually can see who has donated to this jobs PAC. But the fact of the matter is that the newer part of this political funding landscape is that there are now these groups that will take in anonymous donations. So
yeah, like MoveOn.org and all the money that they put into the Obama race. We live in a democracy. We have a constitution.
So okay.
The Constitution allows us to participate.
Don't you think
in these, and
Democrats
can participate. Republicans can participate. Yes.
Don't you think there should be transparency? Isn't there some benefit in having transparency?
And if Jamie, if I can call you Jamie, if Jamie's got a complaint, it isn't with Mr. Vallines. It isn't with the insurance companies. It's with the public finance issues. And if you want to go put a proposition on the ballot that attempts to take away people's constitutional rights and make them make more disclaimers on their political ads than the content and substance of their elections, you're free to do it. The point is, you don't support the First Amendment. You don't want to just allow people who are regulated by the government to be able to have their peace. People who are regulated by the government are the best stakeholders there are. And if the insurance company is going to be regulated by an insurance commissioner, they ought to be able to participate in the election.
And when those ads come out, going and saying Mike Vallines is as great as sliced bread and Dave Jones is a dirtbag, the fact is the insurance industry's name should be at the end of those ads, and it shouldn't be saying funded by Mercury Insurance and Anthem Blue Cross, and I would be okay. But instead it says funded by Jobs PAC, and the public doesn't understand who's paying for those ads.
Or to bring it to the other campaign ads that we brought up, the anti-Barbara Boxer ads, who knows who the U.S. Chamber of Commerce is? And these are not Carly Fiorina ads. So people don't know where this message is coming from. It's not coming from the campaign.
It's an easy Google search. And, you know, in my opinion, voters are not stupid. Voters pick up clues in election campaigns very easily about which candidate favors more taxes, which candidate favors less taxes, which candidate wants more government spending, which candidate doesn't. They can get those clues. They get them in a number of ways. They get them going to their homeowners association meeting. They get them from what they see in TV. They get them from what they get in the mail. And they get them from what they get on the internet and on the web. In this day and age, all you have to do is do a Google search.
That's not true. That's not true.
And you can look up all the information that you need to look about.
That's not true because the chamber isn't telling you who's giving to it.
The chamber
in the United States Chamber
legal way.
No, whether it's legal or not, you can't Google and find out what that money laundering operation is about. You can't do it for the left or the right, but you can't do it.
It isn't with Mike Vallines. It isn't with the insurance companies. It's with the Fair Political Practices Commission and changing their rules. And I submit to you that if you change the rules you want to change them, they'd be ruled unconstitutional.
Look, I think voters are very smart, and if they knew the insurance industry was paying $1.2 million to elect Mike Vallines, they would oppose Mike Vallines, but they're not going to find that out on the TV ads. And simple disclosure will
Jamie, all you did was put out a press release, and Susan picked it up, and now you've gotten hundreds of thousands of dollars of press right now to get your thing out, and that means our system's working.
At this point, I appreciate your time. Thank you for being here. It was a good, rousing debate.